Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Hello my friends. Before I get started, I would like to thank you for watching this video. My name is محمد الزيادنه. I am a researcher in computer science fields. Then after that, I would like to remind you to share this video for the people who have no knowledge about this subject, to assist people in that which is good. Okay, now, today we are going to talk about Google's old motto. That Google's old motto was "Don't be evil." Funny how this worked out. They believe that they should not only be the controller of all of the world information, but also the arbiters of truth, has led them to become the most disturbingly influential company in the world history. I do not need to tell you that they have not wielded their power benevolently. We are in an unprecedented situation with Google. They control such a large share of the distribution of all known information. There are over 2 trillion Google searchers a year on more 500,000 servers. There are now billions of smartphones activated. That some estimate that half the world population has smartphone. Google has the most valuable brand in the world, which is estimated at over $200 billion. Further, it is a well-diversified company in the world. Google has acquired dozens of companies in the past in the world, and is licensed to hundreds of patents. They have launched a venture capital arm to invest in multiple industries, up-and-coming industries and technologies, and safeguard industries as well. They are engaging in extensive vertical integration, which is the real reason they've acquired so many other companies and have patents so many things. Google wants to own all of our technology and the data that corresponds to our digital footprint. They also want to own the hardware, the infrastructure, and they want to be the providers of our news, our entertainment. And they want to be the company that controls all information that we consume. And what information we consume, they already track our physical movement and all our behavior. Plus, they've mapped a huge partition in the world. The data that they've accumulated is presented in a scale and in depth. But what are they most interested in? Data collection and individual level. Why? In 2015, Google's revenue was $74.5 billion. Around $67.4 billion was advertising revenue, which amounts to about 90% of their total revenue for the entire year of 2015. We've all traded convenience for privacy, and we felt safe because of the numbers. Everyone was doing it, millions, hundreds of millions, now billions of people. And it was fine because of the scale. That gave us a false picture of security. Why they hone in on us individually if they have so much data collected on all of us? It wasn't until they decided that certain people can no longer voice opinions that we realized that what we're wearing. All of this was completely predictable, merely based on the fact that we now decided to forsake our security for convenience by trusting a faceless, self-entrusted corporation. Additionally, we had plenty of warning shots in the form of YouTubes, increasingly Orwellian in terms of service, as most recently with this Damore situation. A few months ago, as you know, Damore was fired for stating a well-supported memo response to Google reaching out to employees for feedback, in which he outlines a few generally agreed upon reasons that are based on gender to choose tech jobs, in an attempt to explain why it is expected for the tech industry to be male-dominated, and as to say Google, this isn't because you have sexist hiring practice. And as expected, there was a huge public backlash, and James was called sexist racist white man. That also as expected, he was then fired spectacularly. Okay, and he has been doing the rounds on alternative media. I have linked his interviews below. One was Stephen Molyneux and the other is Jordan Peterson. But he did appear on Truck Colorson and he discussed the terms of his firing. Okay.
They haven't really given any details. They've just, the entire time, either just called me names, shamed me, or just made broad generalizations saying that what I was saying was pseudoscience.
What did they say to you when they canned you? When they called you in, how did the conversation go? What was the justification for ending your career at Google?
So the official justification was perpetuating gender stereotypes.
For millions of people that have known that, Google is collecting all of our personal information, even as they are saying it, but has been able to rationalize because of the convenience that it offers. This shocked them awake a little bit. I think it made people realize that the impossibly large industry-spanning company that also is our primary providers of information does not recognize basic plain truths within its own rights. In worse, fires people for stating obvious things that are disruptive to their delusional corporate culture. It also made people see that Google rejects meritocracy in favor of staunch diversity initiative that no one is allowed to criticize. This is an excellent way to gauge corporate failure. Invariably, your quality of staff will eventually suffer. Right now, Google employees are top notch because it's still a very prestigious place to work and still very high paying. But what will happen when people, if their reputation for intolerance prevails and becomes public funds rather than their commitments to innovation? They can be very diversified in terms of industry, and we can be very dependent on their products. But what will happen when people learn to adapt, when they are fed up with the privacy violation and information collection and they seek alternatives? Also, people that want to be innovators will not work at company that will stifle them or fire them for stating plain truths. It's become abundantly clear through YouTube's partnering with ADL to remove conservative content that is not violated with their terms of service. That Google has launched a full-scale attack on the right and internally are engaging in a ridiculous level of delusion about gender, human nature, race, sexism, and a multitude of the other remaining dolorous issues of the regressive left. We've been aware for several years that Google's ranking algorithm, which has not since been inconsistent, at some point began to retain leftists, some run news aggregates, and similar sites at the top of search results. In April also, we had some more solid evidence explaining Google's bias, even though people have been certain this was occurring for years and years. Bloomberg Technology reported in April, Google is not planning to read fake news, but it's trying to purge it from the top, from its search results. Yeah, I bet those 10,000 people have no political and personal biases that are affecting their decision making. We all do little tests during the campaign to see what came first when you Google things like Trump or Hillary. Without fail, Hillary would return positively slated results at the top in the top rankings, and Trump will retain negative results in the top rankings. Your typical leftist publication would almost be at the top, Half-Bone, New York Times. I'm very confident that they did their darndest to help Hillary Clinton out. And their algorithm and ranking system has fallen under suspicion for a few other reasons, most notably the $2.7 billion issued in the fines by the EU. This is from Washington Post. The fines the largest the EU has levied against the company for abusing its dominated position, and it marked the latest confrontation over business practices between EU regulators and American tech giants. Google, which is considering an appeal, issued a statement minutes after the EU announcement, saying its shopping sites help both consumers and advertisers. Okay. Additionally, Google also has an official history with the NSA in the working directly with the NSA in the federal government. Google is not just the only company. Google is not just the private company. It's deeply involved in everyday activities. It's also deeply involved in academia. Partners with the federal government. Worst of all, they are not even trying to help to hide their blatant activism and regularly use their huge amounts of advertising revenue to lobby for their political causes. Google is not the only company capable to innovations. This is true. There are some alternatives to Google, but we have to see Google for the powerful enemy that it is. At this point in time, no other company can possibly have to have the influence that Google has. I hate to say that this is because I do not have much faith or trust in the government. The only solution that I can see here is that Google needs to be regulated like a public utility. This is truly as an unprecedented situation, and it will be very difficult to navigate. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Is there another solution that I've overlooked here? Do you think the government needs to step in? Will that cause worse long-term problems? And most importantly, from all of these, what can we do to limit Google's power over us? Thank you for watching this video. See you later.